understand that this hurt is my hope. If I stop expecting you to walk through the door, then I have to admit I don't have you anymore. Just in case you wake up and remember my name, just in case you decide that it wasn't a game, I'm keeping the edges of my heart soft and wide, with a little bit of space for you left inside. I'm not moving forward, I'm just standing still, because if you don't come back, I don't know who will. I'm holding on to nothing with a tightening lace, saving my life just in case. The light is still on, the key is still there. I'm talking to shadows and breathe in your ear. It's a long, lonely winter in this empty place, but I'll stay, just in case. I'm retracing the steps to the night it went cold, searching for the chapters that we never told. You were leaning in close, I was holding my breath. Now I'm staring at a silence that feels like a death. The tea's getting bitter on the kitchen tray, like the words we both whispered and threw away. 1 minute the world was a house we both built, the next is just shadows and secrets and guilt. I'm looking at pictures, I'm reading the signs, trying to find truth in between all the lines. My heart is a witness that can't find its tongue to explain how a song ended right as it's sung. Tell me, what was that? Was it a fire or just a match in the rain? Was it a healing or a new kind of pain? Was it a lifetime or a trick of the light? Because I'm still awake in the middle of the night, asking the walls and the ghosts where you sat. If it wasn't love, then what was that? You used it forever like it was a toy, a word you could break just to find a new joy. I memorized the map with the lines on your palm. I trusted your storm because I loved your calm. But you walked out the door with a look in your eye, like you'd never seen me, like I was alive. Now I'm left with the wreckage, the what ifs and whys, underneath the cold weight of these gray empty skies. Was it a lesson I didn't want to learn? Was it a bridge you were waiting to burn? Was that just a station where you chose to wait until you found a train that wasn't running late? It felt so heavy, it felt so real. Now I can't even describe I look at your lips and not remember the taste? How do I look at your life and not feel like a waste? I'm auditioning for a role I never wanted to play, in a movie where the color has all turned to gray. Just like the way we let our summer end. I'm standing on the yellow line looking for a ghost in the city that I love, but the place I hate the most. I see your face in every window pane, then the doors slide shut and I'm left with the rain and the echoes of a promise that we couldn't keep, in a city that's screaming while I'm trying to sleep. And the subway hums a melody of goodbye beneath the heavy concrete, and the The train keeps moving, it doesn't care that I'm breathing in nothing but empty air. Next stop, heartbreak, next stop, change. Why does everything familiar have to feel so strange? And the subway hums a melody of goodbye beneath the heavy concrete and the laden sky. We're just two parallel tracks that'll never meet, walking different rhythms on the same cold street. Oh, the hardest part of letting go is the underground wind that starts to blow, taking you further station by station, while I'm still waiting at our own destination. Mind the gap between who we were and the blur of the girl and the blur of the her. The doors are closing, the doors are closing, and I'm still here, just a passenger on a train to nowhere. The porch swing is heavy with the ghost of you, staring at the garden where the purple used to bloom. I found a dusty bottle on the bottom shelf, the kind we said we'd open when we finally found ourselves. Now the label's peeling like the paint on the door, and I'm tasting the promise of a life we don't have anymore. Oh, it's elderberry wine and a bitter regret, the kind of sting that hasn't left my spirit yet. It's the sweetness of the summer turned to winter's chill. I'm still waiting for your shadow at the top of the hill. One glass for the memory, two for the pain, drowning in the vintage of a love that died in vain. Elderberry wine, you're still on my mind. The neighbors ask about you, and I tell a silver lie. I say you're chasing sunsets in a different kind of sky, but truth is in the cellar, fermenting in the dark, next to all the letters that I never had the heart to spark. You were the harvest, the fruit on the vine. Now I'm just the leftover, aging past my time. They say time makes it better, they say time makes it sweet, but it just tastes like salt and the smell of the street where I watched you walk away without turning your head. Now I'm drinking the words that we should have both said. Elderberry wine and The sweetness of the summer turned to winter's chill. I'm still waiting for your shadow at the top of the hill. One glass for the memory, two for the pain. Drowning in the vintage of a love that died in vain. Elderberry wine, you're still on my mind. The bottle's almost empty. The sun is going down. Just a stain on the glass in this quiet, empty town. Wild elderberry, I'm still waiting for the berry of a love I can't leave behind. I watch the steam rise off your coffee in the dawn. A quiet habit now that everything is gone. You didn't pack the photos or the heavy winter coat. Just left a folded paper and a jagged little note. The ink was still wet when you stepped into the rain, leaving me to figure out how to live inside this pain. Now I'm holding on a one-way ticket. You didn't mean to leave to a destination lonesome that I never could conceive. There's no return flight coming, no tracks leading back to us. Just the hollow sound of silence and a heart turned into dust. You're 1,000 miles ahead while I'm standing at the gate with a one-way ticket to a love that's far too late. I walked down to the station just to see where you had been. The platform felt like glass beneath the shadow of my sin. The conductor called for boarding, but he didn't say your name. He just looked right through my spirit, like he knew I was to blame. I bought a seat to nowhere, just to feel the floor move fast, trying to outrun the ghost of every summer in our past. They say the world keeps spinning even when your sky falls down, but I'm just a lonely stranger in our favorite parts of town. The distance isn't measured in the miles or in the hours. It's the silence in the garden and the dying of the flowers. Just the hollow sound of silence and a heart turned into dust. You're 1,000 miles ahead while I'm standing at the gate with a one-way ticket to a love that's far too late. One way, no way back. Just the rhythm of the wheels on a cold iron track. The whistle screaming goodbye, but I'm still whispering please. Falling to the floorboards down upon my knees. A one-way ticket, and I'm the only one left on the train. The mirror in the hallway has been lying to my face. It shows a man who's standing still but falling out of place. I try to fill the hollow with the work and with the wine, trying to be the pillar that could hold us both in line. But the foundation's crumbling, the ceiling's coming down, and I'm just a weary sailor in a dry and dusty town. I've spent a lifetime building walls I thought would keep us safe. Now I'm just a prisoner inside this empty space. 'Cause I'm not the hero that I promised I would be. I'm just a drowning shadow reaching out for what I see. I've been the shoulder for your tears, the anchor in the gale, but the wind has finally caught me and I'm beginning to fail. God, I'm tired of being strong, tired of the lead inside my chest. I'm just a broken engine finally looking for rest. I'm looking for the man I used to see, the one who didn't bleed, but I'm further from the man I was and the man I'll never need. I see your keys upon the counter, your coffee cup is cold. Another day of acting like I'm brave and like I'm bold. But when the lights go down at midnight and the house begins to breathe, I realize that the only soul I'm fooling is my own. I believe I used to have the answers, I used to have the light. Now I'm just a blind man wandering through the middle of the night. The weight of being steady has been my spirit low, and there's nowhere left for all this heavy gravity to go. I'm not ghost in the hallway. The man I need. He walked away a long time ago. Just a shell, just a name, just a flickering flame. I'm not that man. I'm just